Hello and welcome back to Two Spanners Piston Broke with Matt and Dotty, my 1977 MG Midget, here in Germany for our first German workshop special. So some of you might remember when we were driving Dotty from England over to Germany, midway into the journey, once we'd entered Germany, there was a little bit of a squeaking noise coming from the engine. And so we pulled over and had a good look around, and Jim and myself sort of narrowed it down to the alternator bearings, which were starting to play up. Now this is my first job working on Dotty without Jim. So yeah, in theory it should be about a 15 to 20 minute job. I've budgeted in most of the morning, so let's see how well I get on. So here we've got the old alternator, and it's held on by three fixings. We've got the fixings here, which is the adjustment. So it enables you to sort of tilt the alternator backwards and forwards to enable the correct sort of tension on the drive belt, on the fan belt here. And then down below, you've got a long bolt that runs all the way through the alternator, both sides, holding it onto the block. So, just juggled the camera there. So these are 1/2 inch nuts. The top one's actually a metric nut, so I'll replace that with the correct imperial nuts next time I'm over in the UK. But I'm going to get on now and undo these, and hopefully the alternator should just slide off. I'll pick that bolt up later. Oh dear. There we go. So yeah, that just holds on here. You can see the alternator now is loose, but now the one underneath, need to get the torch down here. I'm having a good one today, aren't I? Dropping everything. Oh. Seriously? Well, that's just bloody great. I've broken the torch. Pause. Right, well that was a little bit trickier. This long bolt here drives all the way through here and holds the bottom of the alternator on. And yeah, it was one of those things, you could get it out so far, then you just had to use a lot of persuasion and jiggling, but we eventually got it out, cold fingers and everything. But we've got everything undone now, so hopefully it should just be a case of twisting it out, disconnecting the cable here, and yeah, installation of the new one. So let's see how we get on. Just hooking the fan belt, the drive belt, over the bottom pulley. Now, so you start at the top. So, going to get the gentle persuader, just start to get this bolt lined up here. It's just struggling to come through here, through the whole of the alternator. So play around with that. This could take some time. Well, we've got the bolt through here. That was a bit of a pain, actually. And I found I'd put in the adjuster bolt first, and that was a mistake on my part. It's much easier if you put the bottom bolt in first, and then you can line it up. Now what I've got to do is put the bolt in here that holds the top of the alternator in to this adjustment slide bracket here. So that might take a little bit of bending and heaving, but we'll give it a go. So I'm just using the hammer, just gently, to apply a little bit of pressure on the alternator, just to tip it forward. Obviously I don't want to use too much force because it will cause me all sorts of bother, but let's see how that goes. Am I through? I'm through. Yay. So if you can see, just there, we've got it through. And just by leaving the alternator a little bit forwards, we're able to get it through. And obviously, that's what we need to do when we come to finally adjust the drive belt. It has to be at least no more than ½ inch play at the longest section between the pulley. So again, we'll just tighten it up, but it's actually pretty darn tight as it is. So I'm going to get these bolts done up and have a cup of tea, because that's taken about an hour and a half. Got it in. Don't know if you can just see here, it's adjusted. And we've got a nice tight belt. I don't know if you can see here, this is the longest section between pulleys, and that's nice and tight. Okay, well, in true fashion, that took a little bit longer than I hoped. Basically, I put the top bolt in before the bottom bolt, and that just restricted me by about 1 millimeter. So when I'd sort of bashed and crashed around and generally used all of the grown-up adult frustration words, I took the top bolt out and the bottom bolt slid through. You know, it's always the way, isn't it? So for future lessons, bottom bolt first, top adjusting bolt on the slider second. Ordinarily, I'd say if you were changing the alternator, then I would also advise you to change the drive belt as well. It's, you know, whilst you've got everything detached, it's worth doing. But yeah, this was still got lots and lots of life left in it, so I've kept that on. Famous last words. But now I'm going to start up Dotty, and then yeah, hopefully everything will be running well. So I'll just bring the other car down for a quick jump, and we'll see how we go. And that's another job ticked off the list.